Hello, and here we go. All right, hello everyone. My name is Hina. Um, and let me preface this a little bit by saying that I'm not a hardcore raider. I'm not a direct victim of Sfia. Thankfully, he never had the chance to do that. Um, but I am a victim of mistreatment by World First Group raiders, like members of TPS and thoughts per second. And as for Sfia, I was a girl he tried to flirt with for a while. And during 2018 FanFest, I sat there in cosplay, so maybe he didn't recognize me there, and saw him on multiple dates with multiple women. And the screenshots there is all published on my Twitter. Um, but I didn't find out that he was dating someone already that was already in my FC until 2 years later. And when I did find out, I immediately reached out to her, going, "Hey, I don't know you too well, but here's what happened. I think you have the right to know." Being someone who was cheated on and knows how exactly how that feels, I would wanted to know. So that girlfriend was Haru. Little did I know, there was many more girls involved, and that's just so disheartening to see. Um, Now, I'm a vet that did server first world prog. Well, not world prog, server first progging. Back during like AR Heaven's Word, and I rated mid core until Alpha Escape. But let's just say that it's funny how this all intertwines with the names. Like Howard Moon, who was in my first FC. He joined my FC when he first started playing the server first called AU, Avan Union, and we were on Leviathan. He destroyed that. He was one of the core reasons that FC broke up after he tried to pursue different girls who had boyfriends that was already raiders, causing a shit ton of drama. And there was something else that happened that I was not part of, but I knew that he was one of the core reasons why we all dispersed and moved over to Gilgamesh. When we moved to Gilgamesh, Collision and D&T was merging into an FC called Elysium. EM, who is known for raid groups like Thoughts Per Second, Tempest, who are filled with amazing people. But that's how I got to know raiders like Fold and Sfia. I was actually eternal bonded to Fold for a while. Shoot, I even have his phone number. Um, but eventually they turned into like Radiance and whatever they are now that I have no idea what happened and don't care. Um, so moving on into how I met Xenos, I actually only heard the name Xenos a couple times before I knew that he was a boyfriend of Amber, who was in Elysium. I talked to Amber. She was super nice. Her tag was like Aras, AU underscore RAS on Twitter. Since then, it's been changed, deleted. And since I had to change my Twitter, well, basically permanently delete it and start a new one when Fold came after me, I had to. I don't have those receipts or conversations with her anymore. But basically, I asked her, "Hey, I saw Xenos at FanFest, in passing. Where were you?" Because I was trying to, uh have a drink or lunch with her or a little snack, and she told me she didn't show up. Basically, my memory is not the sharpest, but I remember very well not liking Zeno afterwards due to some weird form of emotional neglect. They had a fight, but he made her feel like that, and she didn't even want to show up at FanFest. FanFest being once every 2 years back then, and in a much smaller community, where everyone was friends. It was kind of important to be there if you want to see all your online friends in one place and have fun, get to meet each other in person. So her not showing up and like her basically painting Xenos in a bad light to me and her being my friend, I automatically went, I don't like the Xeno person. Um, I for the core fact of he made Amber sad, and the fact that it's because of him I didn't get to meet her, and she didn't even come to one of the biggest gatherings for this video game. So not as like not as exaggerated like that, but still. And in the meantime, jumping to the harassment part of like the topic of misogyny, people with following or with a higher status in the game, men who will shit on women for certain things. Um, while I was eternally bonded to him, it got like annulled because he started dating his girlfriend, who turned out also like some crazy stuff there. Um, but he started a witch hunt because his I rejected his friend, who, by the way, has done some very questionable things at FanFest as well in person, to where my part of my friends had to like keep him occupied, and they were like jokingly saying they were on that person's duty to get them away from me. So there was a whole thing there, and in truth, I owed that person money, and I tried to pay them back. Instead, they shoved the money back into my purse. Um, oh, saying like, no, 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 don't worry about it. I'll get the money from gambling anyways. It's for you. It was $200 for a phone that my ex had smashed, and my ex had also depleted our savings, so I had almost no money, no phone. There was a whole situation there. It kind of transpired into this where Fold went online, called me a thief, and anyone defending me got a hashtag put on them by other girls that also weren't involved, saying hashtag hard on Hina, basically calling them simps. And the rumors that have started long time ago surrounding the fact I'm female and around a lot of these World Prog raiders came to the surface back then as well. I bought runs with nudes, and they would link any Asian with any tattoos, because I have quite a couple, um, around going like, oh look, Hina's on like one of those campsites. Those things are like always surrounding, even before FanFest. I have gotten death threats, I've gotten harassment. So this is what the Sfia thing transpired into, is that he touched on a topic of why women don't raid with hardcore groups that are very well known. This is part of why, because those things circulate. Those chats have existed. I have seen those chats with my very own eyes of how those channels talk, um, especially during COVID, and it's quite disgusting. So I don't remember word for word. I didn't take a picture. Like, I was dating someone that was in that scene during COVID as well. So from this game. So I speak from experience of just how I felt about it. And it was so traumatic during FanFest, not even the full thing. There was also my co-healer at the time. I rejected him as well. He was at FanFest. But what's funny is that group, the red mage in that group, and her ex, if y'all seen a Google Doc um going around saying things my ex did, I didn't even know they were dating. And that raid lead, Azurlos, has like asked me to jump into plenty of games with him one-on-one, had a lot of one-on-one talks, called me like there's missed calls in our DMs like from a long time ago where I just refused to answer him. He was really clingy. I didn't know that they were dating even, and no one, like, I don't know how many people in the static knew, but that's the same static that Xenos has blasted on his stream. He blasted her for name calling Ryan out, who's also another person that just like works behind the scenes. In reality, Ryan spreads gossip and lies and gathers content and background information for these content creators that reaches out to him. And in truth, Ryan still owes me $200. He's a person that brings a cat into his life without being able to afford his own food. Like there's that he even Dagny even like he even owns Dagny money. So like I was like, oh yeah, Ryan got called out, well deserved. But like Adagny redacted Azurlos's name in there for a healing process. That doc of things that my ex did, I have that doc too for two exes. And that was done through therapy as a healing mechanism. Like it was a process of healing from those things. Just because we have healed and gotten over them doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt when we see them. Anyways, I digress. Now, what Sfia has done, he has, and through many channels of talking to whether it's friends of his, now ex friends of his, I find out that like the way that he has meticulously thought out the process of how to go about cheating and his half-ass apology for it, like there's a side there's a side where there's going to be a group of response where I don't want the response to the tweet that he made for why women don't want to apply to his groups. There's two sides to those responses. One is because you're a cheater, and we don't fuck around with cheaters, um, and from the women. And then the other side is because you're assholes and you guys are okay with harassment, turns a blind eye on them, etc., etc., etc. So there's two things going on. The general topic that this encompasses is misogyny, and and I think it goes beyond misogyny. Personally, I think it goes beyond even men that have experienced similar harassments. I know one very, very huge case of where the girl was a perpetrator and acting as the victim. So it goes both ways too. But that doesn't, every victim is a victim regardless of gender. But just because of the gender, like the when I was in Elysium, it was a boys' club. Sfia, Fold, I dated one of the officers that was part of that boys' club. I heard the conversations that was going on. So that's the real problem. And honestly, I don't have an answer for it. All I can do is speak out. And all you content creators can do that are trying to like the content creators, and I just mean two, which is Xenos and Arthars, like either stay silent because you don't know what it's like to be a woman going through these kind of things and all that encompasses, or support us by just getting the word out, like just making sure we are heard. That's all it is. We don't like, what do you want to do? A video of Sfia like on his knees begging forgiveness? No, I don't even fucking want that. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't even want my ex who cheated on me to do that. Mostly because I don't want anything to do with him. But I do want to voice out how important it is to recognize what cheating does to a person's mentality. It took me a while to recover from that. Man, I was raging. I have never felt that anger, sadness, whatever the feeling was before. The fact that Arthar responded, moving on to Arthars, when I supported him for a long time. I thought he was like, ooh, like this guy's straightforward. He's funny and straightforward. Sometimes a little bit like rude, but I think it's a cultural difference, and that's okay at the time. When he responded that we are dumb, we basically saying like we kind of deserved it because the saying in Asia is like, you know, one bowl doesn't make a sound. It takes two hands to clap, not one hand to clap. You know, same concept, but that applies to arguments. Those are things we learn as a kid. Is that applies to an argument in drama, like bickering back and forth. This isn't bickering. This is a bunch of people finally finding their voice to address a concern that they have been struggling with for X amount of years. And the fact that he says, you know, there's fault in the girls as well. So by that theory, like, and he goes like, I don't really care. This is drama. Here's what I heard years ago on this really ridiculous thing. All right, go Twitter, go find it. Like, the trolling, it's just so unacceptable. What if what happened with Howard Moon and people have made fun of it while you were going through the case for it and going like, you know, oh, Howard Moon was being a shitty person. All right, let's start finding every shitty person on the planet. Or let's start finding every shitty person that kind of does this. Every single predator in this game. I mean, friggin' Old Bear was called out already. So, the fact that he responded like that pissed everyone off. And when I say everyone, I don't mean his you know, fans that's drinking the juice. Or your fans, matter of fact. But when you start joking afterwards saying, oh, hey, look, my name, Arthur's name, hey, yo, bro, our names are trending. This fuels a certain type of anger in people going like, you are literally trending based on how your shitty response is towards a situation that you had no stake in. So you want to do a podcast interviewing women? No. You can do a podcast interviewing the victims of a person that harassed you. You were involved there. I don't even think you were actually involved in those type of situations with him and his exes. That, like, some girls you knew, and I'm sure that like you were behind the scenes for. But the other stuff of how he mistreated his ex, that, like, you know, I remember Rosie picking him up in California for and helped him get to whatever that was. Like, that is not pertinent to what was going on. Just like how you as a person does not matter in the movement for women until you made yourself matter in a negative way. Just putting it out there. Now, I may look like shit. I just got home. I am going to go do more life things. This is counting as an interview, I guess. It's a bit long, and that's okay. I kept a note of I have a way of deviating from the topic, so I'm sorry if I didn't address the whole like 400 replies or anything like that. But matter of fact is, I have been the shit end of the stick for harassment from hardcore world first raiders for a while. This is not dirt on them. This is what I have experienced interacting with them. And for those reasons, I don't like for the longest time, I have just walked away. But right now, I just don't feel like it. Just like how you don't feel like supporting the women and staying neutral when there's already proof out there. Good luck, bro.